Alrighty, Benny Kiko here. So I've been wanting to post a video about building a keyboard for under $100, and I've noticed that it's a little bit harder to find good deals where you can actually do this. So in my journey to build this keyboard, I've come across a couple places that I think will be really helpful for anyone trying to build a budget keyboard. Now, of course, this isn't all the websites that you can get cheap keyboard parts at, but for me, these are the ones that I used and they had the best results for myself as well. So without any further ado, we can get into the first website that I've used a ton, which is KBD Fans. Now I've come to realize that KBD Fans is probably the largest keyboard retailer on the internet. And what's nice about this is they have high quality parts, but for a cheaper cost than a lot of other websites. So a lot of the parts I use actually just come from KBD Fans. For example, I think they have the largest shopping tab of all the websites I had been to. And when you actually click on it, it shows all of the things that they have. And there's tons and tons of different products. I mean, look, 175 different products. And that'll mean that there's gonna be better deals on this website. What I tend to do is just go to the parts that I'm looking for example, maybe a PCB, and then I'll go to price low to high and then find everything that I'm looking for here. They really have tons of different options, and somewhere in here you're bound to find a good price. And if you don't find it under the normal tab, my biggest best friend has been the clearance tab. And just like when I go to any other shopping tabs, I just come over here and sort from low to high, and it's gonna give you great deals. I mean, right here we have an entire keycap set for 20 bucks. This one's 10 bucks. So they really have some good deals. Of course, you have to watch out for compatibility to make sure this keycap set fits on your keyboard and that you have the right amount of switches. But in terms of quality and price, I feel like they definitely have some of the best options out there. And again, I'm just a huge fan of this clearance section. I mean, keycap sets for $10, you can find PCBs here. We have cases for $35. I mean, they're obviously not gonna be the highest of quality, but to find something cheap just to get your hands dirty and get into building the keyboards a little bit, this has been my best friend. And one last thing I want to say about KBD Fans is I think they're a great spot to get all of your tools that you need. I mean, I had purchased this kit myself and it's working great. They have keycap pullers and they have different USB cables and everything, and they're all for a pretty good price as well. So number one on my list, if you're gonna stick with one website, I'd say KBD Fans is probably your best chance at finding some cheaper options with quality taken into consideration as well. The second website on my list is gonna be Canon Keys. Their deals aren't as good as KBD Fans just because they're not as big and have as many items, but they still have some pretty good options here. And the thing is they make a lot of their own stuff as well. So you'll find some cheaper prices. For example, if you go to their keyboard kits, they have these nice pre-made kits for you that have like PCBs included, and the whole entire case, you just have to buy some switches and some keycaps. Now these do have to be soldered, but the price isn't too bad. And just like the kits, they have some of their very own keycaps, which are always in stock, and they're relatively cheap compared to other brands, and they'll fit the kits that they have up above. So I also really like it for that. They just have stuff that's in stock. But my favorite thing about Canon Keys is their switches page. I feel like they have good switches for a decent price, and I've personally bought some off of here myself. So I'm definitely a supporter of their switch page. And just like KBD Fans, they're a keyboard only retailer and they have good quality stuff as well. So if you're buying anything from Canon Keys or KBD, usually you're getting something that enthusiasts will use. Now, going into a little more of the mainstream, we have Amazon. Just like with anything, Amazon can be hit or miss, but I feel like you can get some pretty cheap options for a decent price. For example, they have tons of keycap sets that are on the cheaper side. Of course, they're not gonna have the quality as something on Canon Keys or KBD Fans, but you can get cheap sets that will do for the time being while you have a little less cash on hand. And usually it'll tend to work out. You just have to make sure you do your research and that all your parts are compatible. Amazon also has good options for cases and PCBs. Now, of course, the quality is gonna be a little lesser than these other websites, but it'll get the job done if you're looking for something cheap. So that's why I tend to be a fan of Amazon. And of course, you can find all the accessories you need on Amazon, like desk mats or USB-Cs or any tools that you need. Now, another place you can check is AliExpress, which is related to Alibaba, which is like a Chinese Amazon essentially. Now, although their selection is really big, sometimes their selection is kind of iffy for me. In the past, I've purchased some items that weren't of the highest quality. And another thing is it takes a very long time to get there. One of the plus sides of Amazon and Canon Keys and KBD Fans is they come relatively quickly within like 1 to 2 weeks, whereas I've purchased things off of AliExpress or Alibaba that take over a month, 2 months to get here. So that time is something to take into consideration. But if you have the time to wait and you want something really cheap, I'm sure you can throw together something on this website. I mean, there's tons of options that you can go through. You just have to check compatibility and make sure that everything works out, because again, they're not a keyboard only website, so they might not have all the very specific specifications that you need. But if you are willing to wait a little bit of time, I'm sure that you can put something together really cool with this website. You just have to search around a little bit and dig pretty deep, because they have a ton of different options and you're not going to find reviews on all of them. And lastly, good old eBay. Now, of course, the big difference between the other websites and eBay is that eBay is usually used. I mean, they can say brand new, but someone has it in their hand. Now, once again, if you're willing to take a little bit of a risk, I'm sure you can find some really cool stuff on eBay that you can throw together for your keyboard. You can get deals on some of the kits and whatnot. But like we all know, buying something on eBay can be kind of suspicious sometimes, so just be wary of that if you're gonna buy anything through here. For me, I'd probably only buy cases or keycaps off of eBay, just because I don't really trust all the electronics that I get off of there. And you know, there might be like a dead switch, or a PCB might not be working properly. And usually those are pretty cheap, and you can just go ahead and get those on like KBD fans or Canon Keys or whatnot. But if you want to take the eBay risk, go ahead. I mean, there's tons of options on here as well. But for me, I prefer only cases or keycap sets. But with eBay out of the way, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys get the chance to check out these websites, hopefully you find a great deal to help you build your first keyboard or just a budget keyboard. If you guys know of any other websites where you can find some great deals, please leave them down below. I'm always looking for new websites. These are just the top 5 that I've been using and that have been the most helpful for me. I'll make sure I go ahead and link down all the websites below. And if you guys have any questions or comments, please let me know down below. And stay tuned for the keycaps of November. That's going to be it for this video, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.